Welcome to No Player Connected. A familiar face from the NPC Rogues Gallery joins us today in a familiar franchise. Kaden, welcome back to what is easily the best entry in the Dead Space trilogy.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. It's the third one, so it must be the best.
I was expecting like a violent reaction from that.
No, I'm giddy with hatred. Like, I'm feeling good.
I'm shaking with excitement, not bitter rage.
No.
At all. Oh god. It's gonna be a good one. I'm sure we can find some joy in this massive cloud hanging over the franchise. Kaden, can you give us the premise of Dead Space the Third?
I can do my best.
It's all we can ever do.
Alright, Dead Space 3 is a 2013 third-person co-op action horror game. Developed by Visceral, published by EA, same as the first two games. Oh, are you puking during my description?
No, it's fine. It's fine. We love
Please.
EA.
Save the vomit for the end, please. The year is 2514. We're 3 years after the events of Dead Space 2. Okay, once again you play as Isaac Clarke, the engineer turned alien artifact destroyer. He is currently living in a very shitty apartment on Earth's moon. He has no girlfriend and no clear direction in life. Big L for Isaac.
Why do you say it like that? He has no girlfriend.
Because that's how the game opens, like his story. That's the first thing you learn about him, was that he's been dumped.
No bitches, and you're on the moon.
Okay, let me finish the premise.
It's just you gleefully were like, he has no girlfriend. Okay, sorry.
So you play as Isaac, but if you were playing the co-op campaign mode, and if you're player 2, then you're playing as certified angry man, Earth government soldier man, John Carver, who is new to the series. Your goal throughout the game is to find Isaac's fellow Titan Station survivor, and now ex-girlfriend, Ellie Langford, and you're supposed to help her with her mission to find the homeworld of the markers that turn dead people into the necromorph undead monsters, and put a stop to it.
Isaac wants Ellie, but all he gets are L's. Check please. Roll credits. No. It's over. Put the music on. We're done here.
I think that's all we need to say about this game. Can we set the groundwork a little bit? A smidge?
Groundwork how?
Don't get mad. I'm going to defend the game a little bit. Spoiler warning for the episode.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that.
I have some defenses. I mean, it's not good in terms of being the third game in this specific series.
You're not gonna do it's a good game, just not a good Dead Space game move, are you? This is classic Dark Souls 2 apologist.
No! I've been outed. Wait. I just think that, okay, pretend in a world.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
Yes, okay, imagine... Stop! I know you're imagining yourself on Titan Station right now. Stop! You don't live there and it's not real. If this game had come out instead of the first game, I mean, with some, like, tweaks so that it makes sense as a singular experience, I think people would have enjoyed this game. It's not fantastic. It has a lot of dumb shit in it, but I think it does some things well, and if it had come out instead of the first game back in old 2009, it would have been received pretty well, and people would have said, you know what, this is a solid start to a new IP. It has some work to do, but it could go places. But because it's at the end, it is the places that it went, and the places were not good overall. I'm setting that groundwork.
See, here's what I'm gonna say. If you put this out earlier, wouldn't you be in the, like, heyday of the, like, Gears of War era? Like, wouldn't this have just been completely swallowed up by... Because I consider this game more action than horror at this point. And I would say that it would fade into the background more. At least at this point, like, it's got the Dead Space prestige behind it, so people are like, oh, fuck, we love Isaac Clarke, we love Dead Space. Let's see what happens. And then obviously, like, it was a bit of a letdown. I think if this came out earlier, I think people would be like, oh, okay, it's a Gears of War clone. Like, everyone shrugs their shoulders and moves on.
Yeah, that is a fair point. Especially since John Carver, the co-op guy, like, is just Gears of War light. Rip-off character. R.I.P. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, I'll concede.
And then the setting, this is kind of weird. I never played the full game, but I played a demo for it. But do you remember Lost Planet?
Yeah. Yeah, I never played it either, but yes.
I feel like people would just be like, oh, it's Gears of War and Lost Planet had a baby. So, lame.
Yeah, we hate that baby.
This
baby sucks.
We do hate babies in Dead Space. They're not even in this one.
No, they're dogs!
The corporate overlord. Yeah, that's right. EAR dogs. So true. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we can't kill babies anymore, so it's got to be man's best friend. What the hell? What the hell? What kind of shift is that?
Yeah, it's to make you more sad, because it's like killing Old Yeller every time.
Yeah, because, like the babies, they're like little clone freaks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares if you kick them around? And Dead Space 2 had school children, I'm pretty sure, but whatever. And even smaller babies. But anyway, yeah, it's fucked up. But we can get to the corporate meddling of EA later.
Yes.
To build on what you said earlier, introducing the game, you spend most of it on a planet called Tau Volantis. Would you say most of it is there? Or at least like a good chunk of the game is in orbit of it, and then you touch down there?
Yeah, I would say basically half of the game, I think, is on the planet, and then, yeah, you're in orbit right before that.
Yeah, so it's a weird shift in setting from what you're used to, I would say. Like, normally you're on a space station of some sort in Dead Space 1 and 2, or a spaceship. In this one, you are mostly planet-side. In the beginning here, like Kaden said, we're on the moon. We're in the mean streets of the lunar colony. And then, then you're on Tau Volantis, which is an alien world that had a previous sentient species had set up shop there, and I think they made a fuck ton of markers there.
Yes.
Yeah, and then predictably died off, so you have both human corpses being reanimated there and aliens, and so it makes for a much different experience, I would say. The setting contributing to that, and then mechanically, this is very different from... Or at least I think it's very different. I don't know, how do you feel about the gameplay mechanics here? Do you think it's a big break from the first two, or do you think it's continuous?
Oh boy. I think it depends a little bit. Mostly I think it's a break. If you play the way that I play, which is you have the Planet Cracker plasma cutter from the first seconds of the game because, I don't know, you played Dead Space 2 or something. Somehow you get it.
Yeah.
And so you never have to engage with the crafting mechanics, which are brand new, at all. And you can just play the game with your plasma cutter like you did the first two and ignore the crafting and the crouching. If you never do that, it's fairly similar. You still dismember, well, most of the enemies, not all. So that's also a departure. But you can play it similar to how you've played the other games, but they really try to make you not do that. So overall, a departure. I'm team departure.
Okay, yeah, same here, because like you said, they have the weapon crafting system, and, there's parts of that are interesting, I think. The customization of the guns is a cool concept, but it's not fun for me when I'm putting a gun together. Like, normally when I think of, like, a video game and there's, like, weapon customization, I'm like, oh, wow. But in this, like, the little, like, previews of what the guns do, they don't really inspire me a ton. They go the, like, RPG route of, like, this is your +2 chip for this stat. And it's like, oh, pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then I think the crafting system is where you get the microtransactions too. Mm-hmm. That EA slipped in there. I never delved into that, and I feel like most people avoided it. Kaden, did you ever pay to have more crafting material?
Did you ever pay for 3 extra tungsten rods? No, I did not. I mean, especially if you're playing the game long after release, 10 years later. Can you still buy stuff even? Surely the servers aren't still open.
I don't know how much infrastructure that would require. I don't know. How about one of us? Let's have a race to see who can buy something in game first.
EA is drooling right now. They're salivating. Someone's gonna buy something.
I wonder if they have like a little light that dings, very dusty. It's an office with like 2 people being manned in the middle of nowhere, and they just process Dead Space 3 transactions.
Oh.
Someone has to handle that somewhere.
Hey, shout out to those people. Write in if that's you, if that's your job. We want to hear from you, and I'm so sorry.
And I think it'd be badass to sit in an office all day and process money from like old video games with outdated. Oh well, I guess is it outdated or were they just ahead of their time?
Oh God.
I think it's definitely a misapplied thing. Like when I think microtransactions, I think cosmetics in games that you're gonna replay a lot, usually multiplayer, and not a mostly narrative campaign-focused game.
Yeah.
Like, does it carry over from campaign to campaign if you spend money?
That's a good question.
I imagine it wouldn't if it's for, like, crafting stuff.
You'd have to buy it every playthrough? I want to say no way, but at the same time, it's EA, so there's a chance.
It's Dead Space 3, baby. Anything's possible. Isaac Clarke's single. It's a wacky world. What other changes do we have? We have humanoid enemy. Oh, well, I guess necromorphs are also humanoid, but, like, we kill people in this.
Yeah, people. Straight up people. A lot of them, too. Like, so many.
But it's okay, they're religious extremists, and they are mindless and just want to kill Isaac more than anything in the world.
Yes, they are enemies, so it is okay if I kill.
Yeah, you just pop their heads.
Yeah, just don't think about it. They're mindless and so are you. Just do it.
Yeah, this is Gears of War now. Go nuts. It stinks, too, because I feel like part of the novelty of Dead Space is you aren't supposed to do what you do in other shooters, where, aim for center of mass, aim for head. Like, no, this game tells you aim for these, like, limbs, and it requires a little bit of finesse. If you're on the higher difficulties, the enemies are running around, and you're not good close quarters, and then they immediately are like, here's some dudes, shoot them in the head.
Yeah, here's every other game you've ever played for the first 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah. Although, before we started recording, my favorite enemy in the game, he's not even really an enemy because he dies in a cutscene. There's a unitologist fanatic that just climbs on a police car, screams, and blows himself up. And the scream is the coolest fucking scream ever.
That guy went hard in the booth.
Yeah. I think he died. I think he actually fucking died.
Shout out to that guy.
We'll leave that in the game. Put that in.
It would be disrespectful to his dedication if we took that out.
But yeah, just the most ear-splitting. Oh! And then that's how you feel for the rest of the game. He sets the tone.
Yeah, he does. Love that guy. He's in the dating sim. Oh, we're not talking about that, sorry.
We can talk about the dating sim later,
Woo!
I'm sure.
All right.
Screaming guy. Oh, you can roll in this game too? Dead Space fans, if you're wanting a little bit of Dark Soul in your Dead Space, you can roll. Although I don't think it gives you iframes like Dark Souls, so...
Just makes you look really cool.
Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of. It gives you something to do when there's a loading screen. Sorry, I mean loading door.
Or when you're in a big open snowy field.
Yeah, I've never used it as like a tactical move.
I wonder if it makes you faster. Wait, can you only roll sideways?
I'm breaking NPC protocol right now, and I'm going to input on my keyboard right now. You can roll forward. You can also roll backwards.
I can't believe you broke NPC protocol for this game. This is the one you just had to play.
Yeah, I just had to do something in it.
Yeah, maybe it is faster. I don't know. We'll consult the speedrunners on Dead Space 3.
Yeah, so Isaac is single, can roll, he's in Minecraft now, and he's in Gears of War. So
Yep,
that's
he can crouch.
those are the broad strokes of what's different. How do you feel about his character, though? Like, not mechanically, but in his heart. How do you feel about the direction? It sounds like a sigh of happiness. Do you mind elaborating?
Yeah, I'm swooning right now. He's single, you say? We start the game in his apartment. He's listening to a recording or a voicemail from Ellie saying that she's dumping him and leaving. And he looks at a torn picture of the two of them that presumably he tore in a rage. Then he throws his scribbles and cups on the floor, also in a rage. And then, like the inciting incident happens or whatever. And then you can read his diary, where he has written that Ellie lost her eye on Titan Station, but I lost my soul. Oh my god. I cannot stand what they have done to my boy in the opening of this game. He gets better a little bit as the game goes on, but they really...
Oh gosh, how do I phrase this? I feel like at least the opening of this game is like peak, like early 2010s, like just gritty and like depressing for the sake of it. Like the room that we were in before this, a peek behind the curtain. We were looking for a place to record. We were location scouting, and there's a room where Isaac gets thrown on a pile of dead bodies with flies buzzing around it, and everything is now an edgy shade of red because the marker is out of containment on the moon. And I was like, this is just so... this is so bleak and sad, and then you go out in a shitty alleyway. Yeah, the mood is just awful, but not in a fun, scary way. This is just, like, depressing, to me at least.
Yeah. I agree. This is like the dredges. It's scummy and gross and grimy. Is it cool? Do you like it?
I look at this alleyway we're in, and I'm like, it's kind of badass. I like that there's signs everywhere. I like that it's like just a shitty, believable space. But to like play in, I mean, you pass through the lunar colony pretty fast too. So like, I'm a sucker for like lived in areas, and this game kind of moves away from that quickly, but the lived in area that we see is like just so I don't know I'm torn because I like this little alleyway we're in, but I also feel like it's like oppressively ass. Like I can't see anything redeemable here. Like it is all just like, are you fucking lonely? Here's a Girls For You ad. Like, okay, that kind of sucks. And then we just passed through the Full Moon shop, which I don't think it has the allure and mystery of the gift shop in the Church of Unitology. Sorry, I almost slipped up there. Oopsie. But I don't know. I wish we saw more of the lunar colony. So how do you think Isaac like develops as the story goes on, especially in regards to like the expanded cast? Because I feel like they tried to have more characters in this one that actually matter.
Yeah, he has his little team. Spoiler alert for team lovers. None of them last very long. But the interactions he does have with them, especially the scientist or archaeologist, I'm not sure what her title is, but Santos is her name. Mm-hmm. His interactions with her, I think, are really sweet. You kind of get to know her. She's like really passionate about the work that she does, and you have some good interactions with her, and he like tries to comfort her when she's like freaked out, and he tries to help the whole team. Really, he like tells them how to kill necromorphs. Just as a guy with experience who's like been through all this shit before, I think he takes up the role of like leader and helper very well. And I wish we got more of that, because I think that's really good. It's strong characterization.
Yeah, I agree. And you get a little bit of interesting conflict with Norton with that, as opposed to the love triangle stuff. Like, I like the idea of Isaac being a leader through experience, Norton being the leader through rank, and maybe, like, you could have even offloaded that onto Carver if you wanted to cut out fucking Norton, because I hate him. I hate Norton.
Yeah, I hate him.
Norton is not fun. He's not like Tideman. He's not like Mercer. He's shit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Norton?
Oh, I also hate Norton. There's literally nothing redeemable about his character, not even from like a moral standpoint. I'm just saying, like, as a character who is written and created, he sucks so bad. He's just the evil new boyfriend trope to a T, and that's no fun. We've been there. We hate that.
Yeah, I don't, like, and I don't mean this in, like, a teen gossip sort of way, but it's gonna sound like it. There's, like, I don't see anything that Ellie would see in him. Ellie seems like a smart gal, sense of humor. She takes care of herself, and then Norton just, like, I don't know. It seems like he walked straight out of, like, the 19th century. He sucks. Very authoritarian.
I do have a question.
Ooh.
About if she was dating him just to use his position to get help with her mission. It's never, like, stated, but there's... spoilers, after you shoot him in the head, which you are forced to do, Ellie calls you, and she's upset, obviously, and she says, like, Isaac, you never cared about us or the mission. I had to go find someone else to help me. And I'm like, okay, is she talking about just with the mission, or is she also talking about, like, I had to break up with you and go try to find someone who would help me, and I ended up dating him to get him to help me?
I had to kiss Norton for this.
Because she refuses to say I love you back to him. And, like, at that point, the relationship is kind of on the rocks, so I kind of get it. But she really only shows any affection to him one singular time.
Doesn't she, like, hug and kiss him, like, once in front of Isaac, and that's it?
Yeah, as a reveal, it feels like. The boyfriend reveal. Yeah, after that, she directs all of her affection towards Isaac, like, immediately, and then just keeps saying, like, yeah, Norton's not usually like this, I don't know what's up. Anyway, Isaac, you're just the best, and you can do this. It's so strange.
I swear, Norton normally does not suck. Huge ass. Normally, Norton is not the worst guy in the entire universe and trying to betray us. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert, Norton also tries to betray you. But we can talk about that plot twist later. But yeah, he's not fun to hate. He sucks.
Yep. All the way top to bottom sucks.
Maybe you're right that Ellie used him. There's this weird... Because I guess that's why they broke up, right? Like, Ellie wants to figure out what's going on with the markers, and Isaac is just... like, he's already been through 2 Dead Spaces. He doesn't want to do another one.
Yeah, that's what I assume. They never really state that either. She accuses him of, like, you sabotaged my Norton relationship just like you sabotaged everything else. But she's upset, and they never elaborate, so I assume that that's what happened.
Incomprehensible. Have a nice day. You just shoot Norton in the head.
Yeah.
What about Carver, though? Huh? Do we think Carver's a good addition?
Okay. Are you ready?
Oh, no. I don't know a lot about Carver, so I'm really banking on you to have the Carver lore.
I do have the Carver lore, and also yes. I'm a certified Carver stan.
Splendid.
I love him. He's not a great character.
I love
that's
him.
Part of
He's
his charm. No. He's just like the walking embodiment of like a B movie, like a B horror movie character, where he's constantly like, "What's going on? What the heck is happening?"
Vaguely angry at something. What the hell's going on here?
Come on, we gotta do this. Yeah, my son.
Wake the fuck up, Isaac. I have trauma to revisit.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for that stupid trope, but I genuinely find him very entertaining.
I like that he teleports. Like, if you're playing single player, he will just kind of appear on the periphery of the screen. What the hell? What's this? And then he'll somehow get off camera and he's gone.
It's honestly incredible. I think... Can I headcanon that he's like a magician? Like, that's his hobby. So every time the camera looks away from him, he does like a quick escape artist type deal.
He moves his cloak in front of him and then he's gone.
They taught him that in the EarthGov military, I think. It's part of the training.
So where they blew their budget on their magician super soldiers. Yeah, other settings they're like genetically modified or something like that, and in Dead Space they're just like magician.
Yeah.
And we're overrun by the Church of Unitology.
Oh, what went wrong? Okay, let me give us some actual. Okay, let's be serious. I'm trying to be serious.
Be for real.
I'm gonna be as serious as John Carver in Dead Space 3. I think that he really is a nothing character. Sorry to stab him in the back immediately, but he's a big nothing for like 80% of the game. If you're playing solo mode, he very rarely appears. And then he'll suddenly appear in a cutscene, which is very funny. Then near the end, after, spoiler alert for Ellie fans, she dies. Quote unquote, dies. She has a fake out death.
Yeah.
And from that point, really the only person you have left is Carver, somehow, even in single player. And then he gets really talkative, and they have some banter. They have a good time all the way up to the finale. And then the DLC, if we want to talk about that.
Yeah,
he's
cool with that.
He's fantastic. Have you played the DLC?
I have.
Yeah. I think it's great.
I have some thoughts on the DLC.
Okay, I don't know when. Do we want to talk about it now or later?
Oh, we can talk about it later. I want to wrap up the character discussion. The ship's barely holding on. It's held together with duct tape and gum right now. It's just barely staying on track. One of the hidden questions I had for you, and I'm pissed because you're already halfway through it, was can you name 2 side characters that accompany Isaac that aren't Norton, Ellie, or Carver?
Yeah, I can name both of them.
Okay.
Santos and Buckle.
Yeah, I love Buckle!
I love Buckle.
I realized I was trapped here because I was like, I want to talk about Buckle, but
yes!
I also want to see if Kaden doesn't know his name. But who could forget lovable Buckle? Our little old spaceman.
Yeah, I love when he calls you and he says, Buckle here.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Buckle here. Yeah, and
bless him.
I think his death is... Spoiler alert for Buckle fans. I feel like his death is the most emotionally charged moment for me. Is like they left this sad, wounded old man to die of exposure in a room, and then one room over is a heater. It's like, what happened?
No!
He's our little guy. He's our little ray of sunshine. Because he's like, oh, Isaac, you're so nice. Thanks for coming over and visiting. My kids never come over. And he's so sweet. And they're like, here's a dish of water, and here's some cat food, Buckle. Catch you around, buddy. Smell you later. And yeah, he just fucking freezes to death.
It's so sad. And he, like, volunteered to stay behind.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. But presumably they did not volunteer to, like, help him maybe build a fire or something. Get that heater.
His ass is not surviving till the end.
It's so sad. R.I.P. Buckle.
Yeah, the game is so, again, like, it's just a very dreary, sad time, where I feel like in Dead Space 1 and 2, you get little victories here and there. Like, it's obviously still a immensely fucked up setting and story, but even though overall it's grim, like, the colony on Aegis, what is it?
7.
Aegis 7. Thank you. That colony's dead. Everyone on the Ishimura dead. Titan Station gone, blown up. Like, you get little moments of like, yeah, I fixed the oxygen system. Or whatever the fuck. Oh, I cleared out the mines. I found this thing that I need. This game is just like, Santos just got killed, Buckle's dead, girlfriend's gone, Unitologist got the thingy that we need, Carver just handed it over to them. The world's ending, everything's fucked, Earth Cup's gone. It's just like a never-ending stream of like Isaac getting shit on.
Yeah.
And I feel like losing the crew that I got a little attached. Mostly to Buckle. Mm-hmm. I was like, Buckle's great. No, he's dead. He got caught in a glue trap.
Yeah. The frozen glue trap.
Like, there's no joy. There's no joy to be had in my horror game.
Would you say that you felt like you lost a part of your soul
Okay.
playing this game?
Yeah, because I left it behind in Dead Space 2.
Oh!
Titan Station. Oh, God. One thing that I do think they left behind in Dead Space 2, do you think this game is scary enough?
No, not at all. Should I stop there? Should I elaborate?
Open shut case. I mean, if you want to elaborate more on it, I can count on one hand the scary moments for me in this game.
Okay, yeah, let's hear your scary moments, because I was struggling to think of any.
Yeah, mine are okay, sometimes when the necromorphs on Tau Volantis, because for some context for folks that don't know, Tau Volantis is like a frozen planet, and there's a reason for that. But it's a frozen, snow-covered planet, and so sometimes you get necromorphs that burrow under the snow, and so you get that, I guess you get that anticipation that you get from like necromorphs going around in the dark where you can't quite see them, mixed with a little bit of like that sensation you get in video games where you see like underwater shit, like a shark moving towards you, but it vanishes as soon as they surface, so I don't think that's particularly scary. When you run into the people who used to be cannibals and then they turned into necromorphs, I think that might be the scariest, both like atmospherically and gameplay wise, because the game gives you that log right before where you can hear a guy talking about how they're out of food and some people started eating each other, and you can hear the people like mid-transformation like going crazy and like saying, what is it, like they can smell him or something?
Yeah, they smell fresh meat, they say.
Yeah, they're a little fucking freaky, and I think it's one of the few times you hear a necromorph infected, like they're just a weird corner case because they're still sentient, but like they're definitely infected now and they're turning into something. And so I think that's creepy, coupled with the gameplay where they like incentivize you to be quiet around them. Anytime a game is like, oh, you could stealth through here, I try to, and then that elevates like the tension, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to fuck up here. Technically you can just kill them easily.
Very easily, and get a lot of loot for doing so. Yeah,
they're like, I guess they're kind of like the pack from Dead Space 2, would you say?
Yeah, where they just run at you in a big horde and it's like a one-shot kind of kill.
Yeah, so I think atmospherically that's the creepiest for me, because it's like a perversion of like, you know, oh, it's these people but they're not, and they want to eat their buddy. But, like, I think that's about as good as it gets. And then the last bit that sometimes creeps me out is when you're inside a giant necromorph, and you have to, like, you have to put, like, these, they're not like antennas, but they're like these electrified rods or something. And there's smaller necromorphs inside the larger necromorph, and you have, like, these like undulating or like pulsating growths in the walls, and some of them erupt and other necromorphs come out of it. I think that's kind of gross and creepy, but like that's it for me. when it comes to the thrills, spills, and chills.
And it's interesting that all the stuff that you named is all exclusive to the third game. Like, none of the scares come from being in the classic Dead Space hallway environment, like in the first two games where they were able to still scare you in that same setting. And in this, you are in a lot of hallways, you're in a lot of ships, the same sort of deal, but none of that lands in the same way.
Yeah, and I was even going to say that the drill fight is so over the top. It's so silly that like it feels like a boss fight from a different video game, like just an action game, like no horror. You're fighting a giant drill being controlled by... Is it being controlled by necromorphs? Like, does it have some weird shit on it? Please don't tell me it's just an industrial drill going nuts.
Okay. I won't tell you that because I don't want to make you sad. So I'm going to say... I was talking to my friend about this. He was watching me play that part of the game. And we decided to headcanon that there is a necromorph up in the control booth, like working the controls manually, trying to get you with the drill.
I couldn't remember if there's like a growth on it, like nudging it the right way, but yeah, it might just... Oh, God.
Yeah, it's like stuck in the corner behind some like safety walls, because I guess it was going berserk. And then Isaac's like, okay, let me remove the walls for some reason, and then it just lets the drill loose. And it's like you're fighting a giant Beyblade in this arena.
Oh my God. Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, it's a memorable part of the game. But there's so many like weird gimmick fights in this. Like, in Dead Space 1 and 2, you definitely have like quote-unquote bosses, like unique encounters that you run into, but I feel like they have a decent feeling of like dread, or like, what the fuck is that thing? Oh my God, what am I fighting? And in this game, it's like, Isaac, look out for the giant ice spider. Shoot its weak points with harpoons and tear it apart. Okay, I just feel like an action man at this point. Like, I think Dead Space 2, right amount of action. This one went a little too far.
Yeah, I agree. I would consider it just a full action game. Not really a horror game. It's got some horror undertones, but it's action.
Yeah. So no other horror moments that you can think of?
No, I think that you're right about anytime that there's not something attacking you yet, and they're able to build up that tension just a little bit, is like chef's kiss in this game, because you get so little of that. So you're right about like when you crash on Tau Volantis and you're making your way through that like 200-year-old colony and you're not being attacked for like a decent amount of time, they're able to build up that tension a little bit again, and then things pop up out of the snow, which is creepy. But after that, then it becomes old hat so fast.
Yeah, there's even a part where they give you super kinesis, and you can just rip apart necromorphs without using ammo. You just get to destroy them with kinesis, which is like a fun little novel thing. And they also give you like a turret too. They have moments where they empower the player, but it doesn't feel like it's earned, or like there's a big payoff. Like when I finally kill the hunter in Dead Space 1 in the remake, I'm like, fuck you, like, die, like, I beat you, I win. In this one, they're like, look out, Isaac, there's a bunch of regenerating, get in this turret and mow them down with impunity. Because there's like a multiple regenerating dudes, and you just dumpster them all without second thought.
Yeah, you just have to hang out with them in a room waiting for a train at one point, and you just have to keep them down long enough for the train to arrive, and it's just like running around the room waiting for a train. It's not exciting. Can't do anything. It's lame. Sorry, game. Shout out to the super kinesis though, because we get a great line from my beloved John Carver when Isaac discovers that he can rip apart the moving necromorphs. he calls John and he's like, hey, the super kinesis is great, you can rip apart the necromorphs. And John says, great, thanks for the tip.
That's it?
It just makes me laugh. He's so nonchalant about all the crazy shit. I love him.
And
great.
you are at like the end of humanity as you know it.
You're in an ancient, alien civilization, seeing sights no human has seen since 200 years ago. He's like, great, all right, cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, and that's another thing about I swear we'll come up with something positive about this game eventually. But like you are in, again, a very dismal setting, like, overall, and I would say this is more dire than Dead Space 1, Dead Space 2 by far. And I don't like how they achieved it narratively, because in the, like, what is it, you said 3 years?
Yeah.
In the 3 years since Dead Space 2, somehow the Church of Unitology, not even just the Church of Unitology, a, like, even more radical branch of it called the Circle, has managed to just shit on EarthGov and, like, stage multiple, like, large-scale revolts, I think, in most of the colonies. Don't they say in the start, like, we're the last EarthGov division left or something?
Yeah, Norton says that, which is very strange and is contradicted a little bit later, so I don't understand fully what's going on. And yeah, the timeline's not clear. Like, did this just start happening? Like, is the pile of EarthGov soldier bodies that you land in the game, like, did this just happen and the revolt's happening right now, or has this been building? We don't know.
Yeah, it just feels like EarthGov went from being, like, Big Brother, like, a force that you're not supposed to trust, and is, like, nefarious and all-seeing, and then it turns into, sorry, we got overrun, and, like, immediately humanity is dying, there's markers everywhere, you need to go to Tau Volantis, otherwise all of humanity is fucked. And Carver's just like, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, the stakes are, like, astronomically high, but I feel nothing, because I don't know why this happened. It's like the end of Dead Space 2, how you're kind of like, what's going on? But just for the whole game.
What do you mean?
It's painful.
Wait, what do you mean by that? End of Dead Space 2, what's going on?
What do you mean Go back and listen to the episode about Dead Space 2, silly. We're confused for 20 minutes.
I know exactly what's... Oh, wait, no, it's coming back to me.
Yeah, did you have to stick a needle in your eye to remember?
I meant more like large scale narratively. Like, yeah, I don't get the Nicole eye poke thing, but, like, I understand that there's a lab where they're making a marker, they fail to contain it, Isaac's trying to destroy the marker, and we lose the station because he blows it up. Okay.
Yes.
In this, like, humanity is somehow, like, instantly on the brink of collapse, and there's a thermos that you need to find to boot up an alien machine, or make sure it doesn't boot up, and if the planet thaws out, then there's a giant meatball that's gonna eat everybody. Okay, I'm gonna broach the topic right now.
Okay.
How do you feel about the Brother Moons? Or the Brethren Moons? Is that what they're called?
The Brethren Moons.
Yeah.
Brethren Moons, put some respect on their name, please. I'm a Brethren Moon stan. I love them. I think they're awesome. I think they're so neat. I've never seen anything else that's like that. Maybe I don't get out much, but I think it's such a cool idea. I think it makes sense with the progression of what you find out about the necromorphs over the course of the series, that they're just trying to assemble a giant pile of meat. I love it. And I think it's cool how, like, when they get to a certain point of convergence, they become this massive thing that really you can't even comprehend. And then they can, like, talk to each other and communicate. The moons can coordinate with each other. It's silly, but I think it's rad.
See, I was with you until the coordinating part. I think that as an idea of, like, them forming, like, one of them forming because of, like, accumulated biomass, I think that's cool. And then maybe, like, that one moon goes and hits up other locations where, like, markers are. If those places don't have enough biomass to form their own moon, I think that's cool. I don't like the idea of them all showing up at one, like, of them coordinating and, like, suddenly there's a bunch of moons at one place. I think that's a little goofy.
A coordinated moon attack on the Earth.
I'm cool with one moon. It's almost like a flower blossoming to me. You get enough meat together, and then your moon forms, and then, like, it blossoms in that, like, maybe it shoots a bunch of, like, little markers out across the galaxy to start the cycle over again. I don't like the idea of, like, a bunch of moons coming in and having a feeding frenzy, which I don't know if that's implied at the end. Like, I know Isaac's having a lot of visions, and I think he sees, like, multiple moons. But at the end, does he see just one moon at Earth, or does he see multiple?
No, there's 3 moons, I believe.
Yeah, that's too many. Give me one. Give me one moon. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. The classic Earth dweller can only comprehend one moon at a time.
Yeah, mono mooner over here.
Yeah, it is a little silly, and I'd like to know what their plan is after. If they turn the whole universe into moons, like, then what?
Well, I think
we just hang out.
I think it's again. That's why I'd be happy with one moon, because then it would be like a natural life cycle, where a marker goes out, manipulates the evolution of a species until it becomes a sentient spacefaring species, replicates markers, and eventually you get enough biomass, make a new moon. Like, in that sense, it's like a dandelion. The stuff gets blown across the galaxy and then it restarts. And then with that, you would also have, if it was like that, there'd be some counterplay. Like, as it stands right now with the current ending to Dead Space 3, it's over. I think it's pretty much over for humanity in any meaningful way. And so I don't think it works to have the moons have a goal. Like you were saying, what are they planning? What's next?
What are they cooking?
Let them cook. I have one possible vision for, like, the Dead Space franchise, should they choose to continue it with the original ending to 3. And I don't, fat chance there. I was thinking maybe humanity is just going to have to, like, hide on, like, fucking asteroids. You're going to have no permanent settlements anymore, and you're just going to have these giant meatballs going through space looking for little crumbs of humanity. And then, like, I don't know, maybe Isaac and Ellie or somebody leads some sort of resistance to it, but I just don't see how you could feasibly combat that.
Yeah, do you want to know something cool?
Hell yeah.
You're right on the money, because they had, like, an interview with, like, one of the devs a few years ago, and he was saying, like, their rough plans for a potential Dead Space 4, which obviously never came to be, but his idea, and I guess the team's little nugget of an idea, was that you would play as Ellie, and you would do that exact thing where you would go around from, like, little tiny blip of humanity to little blip and kind of try to survive and gather what remains of the human race, which would be dope. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, provided it's, handled well.
Well, yeah.
It'd be good if it wasn't like this game.
It would be good if it were good, you could say.
Yeah, I like the concept. Do you have any ideas for, like, the franchise moving forward? Any daydreams of Dead Space 4 that you'd like to see come true?
Mostly my daydreams are trapped within the bounds of rewriting Dead Space 3.
Ooh.
Sadly.
How would you do that then?
Wow. Okay, there's a lot of different potential routes you could take. Broad strokes, I think I would keep it the same in terms of, like, the world building and, like, the lore that you learn. Except I'm gonna steal your dandelion moon idea because that rocks. I love that. I think that's awesome. It makes way more sense for it to be a life cycle. So thanks for that. My property now.
Well, I'm a little rusty on my moon lore. It might be like that too, but yeah, the multiple moons showing up kind of runs counter to that. I'd like Solo Moon. And, like, that would make sense, too, because, like, if you're a giant meatball in space, like, you don't want to share. Like, that's, like, all the people on a planet, like, rolled together in a ball, probably not that big compared to a Brethren moon. So, I feel like...
You think Dead Space 4, it starts with John and Isaac in their ship just watching the moons punch each other to decide who can eat Earth?
Yeah. We gotta get everybody off the planet. We only have a few hours before one of those fuckers wins. Yeah, they just... Oh, and then they one moon eats the others and turns into a super moon. There you go. I solved the problem. Now we just have one really big moon.
Yeah, the mega moon. I love it. I would keep most of the moon stuff the same. Except, I'm stealing your idea. A lot of my changes for Dead Space 3 are mostly story-based, because we've barely talked about the love triangle because we just hate it so much we don't want to talk about it. But that's gone.
It's just gone. Well, what happened is, are Ellie and Isaac still together in your dream version of this?
In my dream version, they never got together after the end of Dead Space 2, and maybe they tried it a little bit and thought this isn't working, kind of similar to how it is in Dead Space 3, but not so dramatic, where it's like the end of the world for him or whatever. And I would like, if we keep the co-op, which is one of the potential routes, I would like Ellie to be player 2. Sorry, John. Love you. But I would like Ellie to be player 2. And I would like you to build your relationship with her over the course of the game as you, like, play together. And it would feel like a natural progression from their experience in the second game, where you could kind of interpret it as flirty, but not really if you don't want to. They're just surviving together and they have a good banter back and forth. And you could expand on that in the third game, and it could blossom into a beautiful relationship at the end of the world, much like the moon is blossoming and all that flower imagery. So, and I would delete Norton, just totally, he's gone. I would put John Carver in his place, and I would have John Carver have sort of a similar role as Nolan Strauss, where he is struggling with, like, his dead family and all that stuff, like he actually does. Instead of he dies like Nolan died, you can save him. You can pull him back from the brink. And I think it would be really, really good for Ellie and for Isaac to go through that experience where this is a guy who is not too far gone, and they can make a meaningful difference. And by the end, they're all a great team. I think it would be good for their characters. Because if the world is ending, if the entire universe is fucked basically from day one, like there's nothing we can do to stop this, then I think the arc should focus on the characters. Like, they're still trying to save the universe, they don't know it's totally fucked, but I think it would make more sense for Isaac to have a kind of arc where at the end he feels like maybe even though the world sucks, life is worth living, instead of trying to sacrifice himself again at the end of this game, which I just hate. He's made no progress. He went backwards. I despise it.
Yeah. I like that idea of, like, the idea of, like, trying to help out Carver, and he's, like, another Strauss. Although... That would feel a little weird. It's like, he's our little Zumbini, we have to take care of him. Our last Tamagotchi died. We can't lose this one, too.
Yeah, and that one was ripped and had a six-pack. Yeah, this guy doesn't stand a chance.
Did you watch the movie? Okay, it's sex.
No, he's still big soldier, man.
Yeah.
And he's still angry, man. He hasn't been, like, tortured in a mental hospital. But he's similar to Isaac in the first game, where he's going through these, like, delusions and hallucinations for the first time. But he's having a different response, where he's being angry instead of, like, kind of freaked out. Which is similar to how he is in this game if you do the optional co-op side missions, where you discover that Carver has a story and character. But that would be in the main game, and Norton's not there because I shot him in the head during development.
I killed the guy who walked up to me in the office and said, I have an idea for a character.
Yeah.
Killed him.
No.
I strangled him.
He was ejected.
Out the airlock with you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character we haven't talked about a lot, and I feel like I already know the answer to the question of who's a greater villain, this guy or Norton. But I still want to discuss this guy, Danik.
Danik.
Okay, so we'll just break the ice here. Is he a better villain than Norton?
Yes, in every way possible.
Well, he probably didn't date Ellie at all, so...
Probably.
Probably not. But yeah, I think you're right in nearly every other way. He's a better one. But I want to hear what you think of the Big D.
The Big D.
That's what they call him.
Danik the Manic. Yeah. I love him. And listen, in the Dead Space 2 discussion, you turned me over to the Tideman side. I like Tideman now. But Danik is like what I had wanted from Tideman originally, and like why I thought Tideman was boring is because he's having no fun. I appreciate that now. Love him, bless him. But Danik is having so much fun hamming it up in this game. Every time he calls you, I'm on the floor laughing. I love it so much. He has a terrible introduction, I'll say that.
Yes.
He is very lame. He's just evil British man. He's super generic. He cares about defeating Isaac, but not at the same time. It's very strange. I don't know what he wants. You know what? He is similar to Tideman in many ways. Interesting. But he's having fun. And sadly, you don't really get to see that till later in the game. In the early game, I forget he exists until he shows up in a ship and starts shooting you. And I'm like, oh, Danik is a character. But by the end, when he's like talking over the intercom and he's like, are you listening, Isaac? I'm losing my mind. I love it. He's great.
Yeah.
You don't like him.
Well,
you hate him.
See... I still think he's silly. He's fun.
Yeah,
but
he's so silly. Given
the scale of the game, like I said before, and the actions that he makes, he like does not make a whole lot of sense. Like,
No.
Danik, you basically have to do nothing and you win.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do a whole lot. You could just kill Isaac. He sees Isaac in the beginning of the game and has a gun pointed to his head. And, you see, Isaac, there are markers everywhere. Allow me to show you. And then he presses a button, blows up a thing, twirls his mustache. He doesn't have a mustache. He has a great jawline, though. Yeah, he doesn't... I mean, he's probably worried that Isaac Clarke, certified marker destroyer, could throw a wrench in his plans. But, like, dude, you basically got the dub. Humanity is fucked. There's markers everywhere. Your cultists have eroded any sense of like government anywhere. But yeah, and then he chases you to Tau Volantis, and then sends his shitty little guys after you, and he's totally ineffective. But yeah, he's got kind of that Lord Sadler effect, where he just calls you, hello, Isaac. Where'd you get those clothes? The toilet store? Goodbye. And it's like, why are you here? How are there British people so far into the future?
How do we let this happen?
How has society not moved on? I love all of my British listeners, by the way. I think it's a silly little country you have. So, I don't know. I feel conflicted. He's a fun character, but he's in the wrong game. Yes,
that's true.
Like, if you want to have some cohesion, like, tonally and narratively, I think this is a radical concept. I think I'm giving myself too much credit there. I almost think you would want someone of Carver's temperament to be that antagonist. Like, we've had mad scientist silly guy. We've had by the books authoritarian. Can I get like a pissed off nemesis to Isaac? Like, can I get an angry guy?
Yeah, alright. I could see that. I could buy into that. It's Norton if Norton were a good character.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, let me rephrase. Yeah, take it back to John Carver being evil. That's much better.
Yeah.
I think that would be neat. Yeah, because you're right that Danik, he's so silly. He's closer to Mercer
than
anything else. and it is kind of a retread of that. And he doesn't have, like, anything extra cool about him like Mercer has the side of him where he is a scientist, so, like, for him, this is, like, kind of logical in a strange way, but he's still having fun. Danik, I don't even really know what his role is. He's just, like, president of unitology?
Well, he's like a leader of a radical branch of it, but it's the Circle. But they're just basically, like, they're called cultists, but they're like guerrilla fighters. Like, they're just a bunch of irregulars that are blowing themselves up and haphazardly attacking Isaac. And they just don't feel like they have any good identity. They're just generic, like, FPS kill 'em guys.
Yeah, and you're right. Now I'm thinking of them in that way as, like, guerrillas. Yeah, like suicidal grenade guys. It would make way more sense if their leader was this big angry dude who, like, puts the fear of God in you, or the fear of the marker, I guess.
Yeah, like, kill Isaac or I kill you. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're just not characterized enough. Either have a really sanctimonious, chilling religious figure as the leader, or give us a pissed off, angry, like, bloodthirsty guy. Danik, yeah, like you said, he's kind of like another Mercer.
Yeah, I love him because he's silly, and because this game is a mess, I'm gonna grasp at anything that gives me slight joy, but he doesn't fit.
A crumb of
Poor
levity,
guy.
please.
His soldiers are funny, too, if you listen to, like, their little shout-outs when they're, like, shooting at you on Tau Volantis. They're very funny. They're like, "You marker traitor!" Like, they're sending personal insults to Isaac. It's very funny to me.
No bitches! And there's a grenade. How does he know that?
Yeah, Norton called him and told him.
Oh, God. Norton delivered a personalized list of insults that Danik could then weaponize. Oh, yeah, spoiler alert for... I don't even know who would be devastated by this, but...
There's no Norton lovers.
Yeah. If there are any Norton lovers listening to this, I will find you. This is a threat.
Yeah.
This is a credible threat. No, Norton sells you out to Danik. Like, apparently you can see him in a video call with Danik if you're being astute. And you, like, catch him on a railing he's just got him in a video call in front of God and country. He's a total fucking idiot. But yeah, he sells you out to Danik, and I don't know if it's like, is it just so that Danik will let him and Ellie go?
I don't know. It's weird because it's kind of implied that Norton's being manipulated by the marker signal, because Ellie keeps saying, "He's never like this. I don't know why he's acting so weird," and like a total asshole.
I just thought she was covering for him.
I swear, you guys. I swear.
Weird. I think he's being manipulated.
So that's like what I kind of thought was going on, but then when he betrays you and you get held at gunpoint by Danik again, Norton's like, "Okay, you're gonna let us go now, right? You're gonna let me and Ellie go home. That was our deal, right?" So I guess he wants out. And it's so weird. I don't understand the gravity of the moon colony situation, because Norton keeps saying, like, "We need to go home, we gotta go home, I want to get out of here." But, like, the moon is totally fucked. So where are we going? I don't understand that. And even with Danik, like, why is he trying to stop you from stopping the moon over Tau Volantis when he already has his own moon that he made out of the Earth moon? I don't know.
He doesn't know about Tau Volantis, does he?
I don't know. Does he?
Okay, hold on. So, you just need enough biomass for a convergence event, right? And we almost have that on Titan Station. It's implied that there are a bunch of markers in a bunch of inhabited areas, and those places are just popping off because of the Circle. Why do we need the moon at Tau Volantis to thaw out for the big funny plan?
Yeah, I don't know if he just followed them because he thought they were up to something, and then realized that this machine exists, and he's like, oh, I better stop the machine, because it's the only thing that can stop the moon from fully forming. You know, maybe they could somehow bring the entire machine back to Earth and stop that moon, even though it's massive. It's the size of a city. I don't know. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
He's silly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird... I'm sure there's lore out there explaining, well, Danik actually understood the research taking place. Whatever, nerd, get in the locker. But yeah, it's just like Isaac and... I guess if Danik didn't show up, I don't even think Tau Volantis would be a problem either, right? Like, it would just sit there, and it would stay frozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is happening?
Wait a second.
What's going
Hold on. Wait, what was the point of this 15-hour experience?
I mean, I get that they're looking for answers, though. Like, that makes sense that they would go to a archaeological site where the sovereign colonies, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The predecessor to EarthGov, they were doing research there, and they were trying to figure out what the fuck markers are. And so I guess that makes sense that they would go there to find answers, but in the story, they don't find anything useful. They're like, machine keeps it frozen. Okay, good.
Yeah, and what are they... They need to make the new codex because... Why? There is a reason. I just don't remember what it is.
We might cut this part of the episode out so we don't
us being confused. Quick, consult the wiki!
Oh, God. In 2514, Isaac Clarke and his team discover, aboard the CMS Roanoke, a major clue suggesting a way to turn off the markers. When he and John Carver investigated the Admiral's quarters about the derelict vessel. The Admiral had been driven mad by the marker's influence and was desperate to create a key to a machine that supposedly turned them off, which she hoped would stop the torment that was being afflicted onto her mind. Isaac and his company followed this clue to the belief that Tau Volantis was the marker homeworld, and down to the surface, where they would find the answer they sought. After facing off head-to-head with both necromorphs and the Unitologist Circle, Isaac and his group eventually discovered the source of the key, which can be found with the research pertaining to a woman named Rosetta, which they later discovered was not actually a person, but a preserved corpse of an alien. Within the facility, they discover that they were able to craft a key from the mental capabilities of Rosetta by reassembling her separated body and probing her mind for its information. From the memories of the alien creature, they found out that the key powered an alien machine that was activated to stop a convergence event from finalizing a necromorph moon, and that if the machine was turned off, the convergence event would continue, completing the monstrosity. So, they think it's a key to turning off markers, when it's just a key to a machine that freezes everything, right?
So are they being... Like, are they just wrong, and they think... Because they interpret, like, the captain's, the admiral's scrawling about turning it off as, like, okay, we need to turn something off. That's what we need to do. Whereas, really, the admiral is writing that because that's what the markers want. They want you to turn off the machine so they can continue their convergence.
Yeah, I believe so.
So they're just being, like, tricked?
Yeah, but like at the end of it, it's just all so pointless because it's like there's no key that actually helps humanity here. You made the key that turns the machine off, which is freezing one of the moons. That's it.
Yeah, you helped the necromorphs to win in the end.
Yeah.
Well done. This really is miserable all the way through.
So if you take a step back, Danik can just let everything play out. Like Isaac and Carver and Ellie go to Tau Volantis, make a key, realize, oh shit, we don't need to do this, twiddle their thumbs, and while that's happening, humanity is being destroyed by the different markers that are being unleashed. With the events of this game, humanity is being destroyed by the markers, and the moon at Tau Volantis has called up its buddies, and now there's moons everywhere. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, because presumably, you're right, there's also tons of markers on the Earth. that are also being activated.
Well, I don't know if I assume... Oh, I don't know if EarthGov would be that crazy. But at the very least, we know that there's like a dozen markers somewhere in humanity. If we're being optimistic... if I'm being an optimist, I would say maybe like half of them don't have enough biomass. But like...
Yeah.
Come on, dude. 6 convergence events? Pretty ass. Pretty bad for humanity. And that's assuming none of them are on Earth. If one is on Earth, it's Jover.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're donezo. It could be an interesting... In my remake, we will delve into this. Maybe EarthGov was like, yeah, these markers seem kind of sus, but they are a source of energy, so we're just going to test them out in space because we don't care about space, really. We're Earth. And Earth is the best. And those are just our little colonies. We're going to test out our crazy science on the colonies because we don't care about those people, really, and they're expendable. Which would be a cool thread to follow since they kind of set that up in Dead Space 2, so...
Yeah.
Failed potential, once again.
Yeah, I was going to say that, building off of that, that is a theme in this, too, you get from the world building, is that you used to have I would argue, a better government with the sovereign colonies, and then, are you familiar with, like, how they lose the war?
No, I don't think so.
They do research into the markers at Tau Volantis, and I think they're the ones responsible for the one at Aegis 7 as well. They're the ones that bury it there. Because they're doing all this research, because they're like, holy shit, we have infinite energy now. Like, we can win the war. Like, that's our key to winning this. And then they find out, like, oh, giant meatball, and it makes people undead. Destroy everything. Kill anybody that knows anything about this. Destroy all records of it. Destroy all the sites. And so basically, the sovereign colonies, like, waste all of their resources destroying themselves while the EarthGov movement is also fighting them. And so they lose the Civil War, and there's not enough information left behind for EarthGov to, like, know, hey, this is really bad. There's, like, just enough left over where they're like, I wonder what this thing is.
Oh, no. Wait, so, like, with their dying breaths, the sovereign colonies, like, sent the wrong emails to EarthGov?
Well, I don't know if it's quite that, but, like, they obviously didn't destroy the marker on Aegis 7, and so you just get, like, EarthGov slowly finding, like, little, like, oh, there's a marker here. Weird. It's just... It's such an interesting conflict, and I think I like the tragic nature of it. Like, they realize the error of their ways, like, oh, fuck, this is bad. And for once, you have an authority figure in this universe that takes responsibility, and they're like, shut it down. Yeah. Just fucking wipe all this, otherwise humanity's fucked. But then EarthGov, like, undoes all of that. So... Yeah,
I wish we could have followed that a little more closely. Maybe not closely, but, like, had more of that, and not in, like, a side novel that is trash, or whatever they did. Yeah, I like those world-building threads a lot. And they don't appear here. They appear a little bit. I mean, they try, like, we didn't even talk about how the game actually opens, where you don't play as Isaac or John.
Yeah.
You play as Tim and Sam.
Damn, you remember their names, too?
Yeah, I immediately imprint on, like, the first character I see in a game.
Is that a Twilight reference? Anyway.
It is! Hey, shout out!
Oh, okay, we'll wait for that episode.
There's gotta be, like, a shitty
like,
Twilight
DS game.
Oh, for sure! Oh, yeah. Okay.
We gotta focus. This is serious.
Yeah, this is a serious game.
But yeah, do you like the opening?
I do, a little bit. It's silly. It sets the tone for the whole game being silly. So in that way it works.
I would almost say that's something they should do with, like, if they continue with the remakes and stuff, that would be an avenue for, like, new stories, like the self-destruction of the sovereign colonies, and, like, following, like, maybe someone who doesn't want to off themselves and comply with one of the orders.
Oh, yeah, kind of like a Halo Reach situation where, like, we know that it's doomed, from the start, but we still get to explore those characters and that story.
Can this guy, like, because it's not like humanity dies, like, can this guy desert from the sovereign colonies and live somewhere happily ever after?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can Halo reach him or not. I don't know. Survive.
Yeah, I would love to see more on that. I'd love to see more of Tim and Sam.
Well,
and their wacky shenanigans, where they take off their helmets in a negative 100-degree planet to use the radio for some reason. I love it. It's terrible.
It's a bummer about what happens to them.
Yeah, within the first 5 minutes of the game. Sadly.
Or they could do parallel stories, like you keep flashing back to them and then going back to Isaac and Carver and then back to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting too. Literally anything but this.
My brain is trying so hard to imagine a fun version of this. Okay, hold on. Can we say something positive about the game? Is there anything this game does well? We're an hour and a half into recording.
Oh, God. How have we had more to say about this game? The bad one. Oh, no. We did say some positive things. I mean, I did. I love John. We love all the characters except for Norton.
Yeah, I mean,
really.
I like that you're like... I like John. He's not a good character. You just immediately hit him with the steel chair.
He's a bad character, but he's my bad character.
And you know what? They did co-op. Like, I know that was something that they wanted to do in Dead Space 2, and eventually got left by the wayside. But this one, they followed through with it. So I'll give them props there. It's a fun little romp if you play with a friend. You can both roll around like little freaks in space.
Yeah, I did have fun playing it when I played it with co-op. But, you know, because you're with a friend, not because the game was good, and not because the co-op was good. Sorry. Oh my God.
No,
wow. I've never played such a well-integrated co-op. I really loved the attention to detail, especially in the cutscenes, or where they harken back to John's magician origins.
Did you have to go through the EA app to play with... you played with Ted, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to fiddle with that at all? I'm trying to remember what I had to do.
It was a mess. I remember we had a hard time connecting, but yeah, we had to go through the EA app. I will say it was not as difficult as when we played Gears of War Ultimate or whatever together. That was also a pain. Like, playing these old games in co-op is really difficult. It's possible, but it took some finagling, which I think you said about your playthrough also.
Yeah, just a heads up for people thinking about playing this multiplayer. You need to get, like, I have the game on Steam, and then EA has some funny little app that you have to download. I think when I was playing it, it was EA Origins, but spoiler alert, EA Origin fans, that also got shot in the head. So Danik found that. His evil knows no bounds.
And then he made the EA app.
Not making enough of a profit, I see. So, the ending. The true ending. How do you feel about the DLC?
I love the DLC. That's something positive we can say. Does it count if it's not in the base game?
Sure.
I think the DLC is genuinely very good. In, like, a shocking way. Because, not that the twist at the end is shocking.
The base game is so bad.
Yeah! We played the base game, and it was such a slog, even though we were having fun because we were playing it together and we were goofing around and laughing at it. But at the end of the day, it drags on so much. It's just painful, basically from start to finish, gameplay-wise, story-wise. And then you get to the DLC, and it's like this tight, compact, it's really only an hour long.
Yeah.
And it has like kind of a self-contained little narrative within it, and everything is really well fleshed out. There's tons of new content that's not in the base game at all, which I think is so impressive, and especially because my expectations were so low. And the story is also good. Like, the dynamic between Isaac and John is genuinely incredible and sparked at least a dozen fanfiction by my count. It's really good. And it's scary. It's scary. It's creepy. They did it. They made Dead Space scary again in the DLC.
Yeah, isn't there like a guy on the ship that you go to that he's like the prophet of the moon or whatever? Like he is mutilating people, and I don't know, it's almost like he's trying to be a necromorph before he actually dies.
Yeah, he's cool. Their little super cult. He like cuts off their hands, which you see. It's not relegated to a cutscene. You can walk around the room and like watch this happen, where he'll cut off a guy's hands and then they replace all their hands with like these metal claws, reminiscent of a necromorph, which is so cool. It's terrible, but it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time, and I also think that it gives you it gives you a real ending, I guess, but I take issue with the ending still, which we've already talked about a little bit, but because the original ending to the base game is like, what, we're fucked?
Yeah, you sacrifice... Yeah, because you have to wait till after the credits to find out that Isaac is alive, but it feels like a tease for a sequel game. It feels cheap. So if you don't include that, then he and John just like die after beating the final boss, and then Ellie flies away in her ship. She says like, "You did it," and then flies away.
You're a winner.
That's that. You did it. It's super unsatisfying. So I agree that even though the Awakened DLC has issues with the ending, like where could it go from here? Why are there 3 moons hanging out? It's a little silly. I think it feels way more climactic and way more of a satisfying type of end cap on the series, even though everything's fucked.
The original ending, like you said, is bait for a sequel, and then the ending to the DLC, I'm like, it's how do we do a sequel?
Yeah, they said no sequel.
Yeah, your ass is not getting a sequel. Yeah, isn't there like tentacles like moving towards the Earth? Like the sheer scale of the devastation. It's like Doom level devastation on Earth. Like it's over.
Yeah, it is. I think it's great. I think it's a great final shot. It leaves you with something, whereas the base game leaves you with just disappointment, and that was it. And it's sad. But the DLC, it leaves you, at least you have some cool imagery to think about.
Yeah, I can agree with that. All right, I have a pretty tough question for you.
Okay.
Who should Isaac end up with, Ellie or Carver?
Oh, this is the choice of a lifetime. Sorry to Ellie fans. Rip. Carver fans, now's your time. Kissin' Carver, they call him. It's only because Ellie is so terribly done dirty in this game, which infuriates me. We didn't even touch on that either. We were too busy railing on Norton. And it's not her fault. I mean, the writing is just so... Who is she? Who is this woman? Who just... Her only interest is falling in love again and, like, kind of having this mission that she sort of cares about, but really it's just having drama and telling Isaac that he's a good man and he's a little... That's my job. I'm supposed to tell him that. And she's so strongly characterized in Dead Space 2, and she's an incredible character, and she has so much agency in Dead Space 2, and then they just throw all of it away, and she's just nothing. She does nothing for herself other than, I guess, start this mission, but then, like, immediately get lost, and we have to go rescue her. It makes me so angry. Like, they made so much progress from where they had started with Nicole, where she was a nothing. Then we get Ellie in the second one, and she's, like, arguably the best character. And then in the third one, they lose so much. I'm angry! This has nothing to do with the question. But I wanted to talk about how I'm angry about Ellie.
I think that is a actual, like, substantive critique of the game. It feels like we're mourning a romantic relationship that we never saw. And so how are we supposed to care? Like, if it was just they were friends and had a falling out, I would feel way worse. Because we see them care about each other and help each other out in Dead Space 2. But yeah, in this one, it's just like, angsty, she broke up with me, like, what am I gonna do? Look at this photograph. Like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about that shit.
No, it's so silly, and she gets over Norton's death so fast.
Yeah, me too.
Just to get back with Isaac. It feels like, and I'm not going to accuse like the writers of any of this or whatever, but what it feels like is like a self-insert. Like, Isaac is my self-insert, and here's this beautiful woman that I have created who will fall in love with him immediately after he kills her boyfriend because he was the one and just the best guy, and she just loves him for no reason, even though he's a dick to her. It's so silly. It makes me angry. They just took away everything about her that made her a real character. Ah! So anyway, all that to say, he should kiss John Carver. Because
empirically,
I have factual evidence.
I've graphs.
I'm gonna get. Danik's gonna call over the intercom like he does at the end of this game and say, "Fact: Ellie is not a character, and John Carver has the hots for Isaac Clarke." Like, then they have so much chemistry, John and Isaac do, especially in Awakened, but also at the end of Dead Space 3 when John actually gets to speak. And if you do the co-op, they go through some shit together, you know, with John's baggage, and Isaac kind of helps him, but not really, but he should help him more. They're so cute! They're so cute in Awakened. They're really adorable. It feels like they actually are friends and comrades and companions. And maybe something more, perhaps. I think it's great.
In Dead Space 4, Isaac is broken up with Carver after 5 years.
No! No! I think they would be very cute. And yes, I have read some fan fiction of them. And it's adorable. Although, interestingly, most of the John and Isaac fanfics get rid of the ending of Awakened. They, like, take all the nice parts of Awakened where they're, like, best friends hanging out, and they get rid of the ending where humanity is dead, and so that way John and Isaac can, like, go back to Earth and, like, be domestic together or whatever. Which is nice. I mean, live your dream. Like, that's your fantasy. That's cute. But I kind of like, oh, they're, like, the only two left alive, you know, here in the universe, and so, I don't know, the world's ending, so kiss, I guess. It's cool.
You just reminded me of what you said before with Norton, though. Like, oh, Ellie, we can go back home. Smash cut to Earth, like, as a meatball forms above it. And people are floating in the air, screaming. There is nothing left. It's fucked.
Uh-huh. Sorry, Norton.
Yeah. Idiot.
Yeah, where's Tideman?
You
Tideman
idiot.
Is an idiot. Tideman would absolutely shit on every character in this game. He would just destroy them.
Compromise the whole planet, you idiot! Oh god, he could say that to multiple people too. He could say that to Danik, he could say that to Norton, he could say that to fucking Carver. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, Carver, what the fuck? Like, I know you like Carver, but when it's like, alright, either I kill Ellie, or you hand over the thermos that causes the moon to form, which will definitely kill Ellie. Alright, here's the thermos. Take it.
It's so weird. I don't get it. That makes no sense. And he says, he has this line like, Isaac, you get a second chance. Presumably to kiss,
You idiot.
I guess, to kiss.
You just compromised the whole relationship.
And it's strange too. I was paying extra attention. They're in the elevator, like right after Ellie dies, quote unquote, and Isaac's like losing his mind and being really sad. And Carver's like, "Hey, she died for the mission, and the mission is what matters. She knew that. I know that. You need to get it together because we have the mission." And then cut to like an hour later, and he's like, "The mission? No way. You get to kiss a woman again. We're ending the universe."
Fuck this mission.
Who is this guy? What?
I'm fucking the mission so you can fuck your girlfriend. Let's get out of here, buddy.
What a wingman, Carver.
As tier wing literally dooms humanity for a chance. For his buddy. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then they kiss. It works. He gets to watch Isaac and Ellie kiss. And then immediately... Yeah. And then immediately he's like, all right, Isaac, you and I, we're sacrificing ourselves. You got your kiss, now time to die.
Yeah, I didn't think about this. You're gonna actually die pretty soon here. Me too. I'll do it so you don't feel self-conscious, but yeah, it's over. It's never been more over than it is now. One thing I will say that's come out of my talks with you about this game, outside of like the lovely conversations and everything, I actually kind of want to do the dating sim thing.
Yes!
I don't know dick about programming or anything, but I feel like between Dead Space 1, 2, 3, and then the remake, I got this idea for a meta narrative, like you know how like you've got the dating game and then you've got like the secretly sinister game underneath.
Yes.
Like, I kind of want you initially meet the Dead Space remake characters, but if you take, like, weird paths in the dating sim, you find, like, the original cast, like, hidden in places.
Where they're all mean and sketchy.
I don't know, but, or, like, they're hiding from the new versions, like, they're incompatible and trying to replace them permanently.
Yeah.
But, like, I think there's something there. And then, you can just, and since that's only for the remake, you can just have fun with the Dead Space 2 and 3 cast. You can go on a date with Danik and be British in space. I don't know. I think that's the future. I think that's the future of this franchise.
So we're dating British people in space.
I just meant the dating sim. I didn't mean that. That's specific. For the Dead Space 4 and 5 are both British dating simulators.
Motive, are you listening? I have a question for the Chen lovers in the audience. So in this creepy alternate version that you can start to unearth in the first dating sim, does Chen, like, cease to become a character over time? Does he, like, lose his humanity because he's not a character in the original game?
No, I think it would be, like, all of the new characters would be totally fine and, like, happy-go-lucky, like, it's just a dating sim with them. But if you try to romance Kendra, Hammond, Isaac, Nicole, like, there's a chance that you... And listen, I'm just... Now this is new ground. I haven't thought about this a ton. But, like, if you interact with them, like, there's a chance, like, you'll see the original, like, in the background. And, like, something sinister is going on. Like, the remake characters want to get rid of the originals. Like, make sure they're gone. I don't know, maybe one of them has already permanently killed the original. I don't know. I'm just,
I love it.
This podcast has taken a turn.
No, this is great. We need more spin-off media.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get any of that for... I'm still waiting for the third film.
Well,
Hello?
I was going to say, we haven't played the spin-offs yet. Careful what you what you wish for.
I love this idea, and I'm already fantasizing about I'm gonna go the Kyne route, and I'm gonna date Dr. Kyne because he's so nice in the remake, like so sweet, but he's so sinister in the original, even though he's not really evil, but he's like so creepy and way more unhinged. I love it.
And it would fit because he's a sneaky guy, so he would definitely be one of the originals to survive. This is deranged. This is absolutely deranged.
I love it. Before this podcast, your Dead Space daydreams were about living on Titan Station, having a lovely life in space. Now your Dead Space daydreams are about, if I date Mercer, and he's already evil, but now he becomes even more evil and gets taken over by Super Mercer.
My cyclical parallel world dating sim that I don't have the intellectual property rights to.
Man, we'll just change the names. It's fine. It works for fanfiction.
Bark. What do you think?
It's perfect because he's bi in this game. Hello. It's a little on the nose.
Do you think they get it?
Thank you for that. I'm glad it's been plaguing your mind as well.
Do you any last words before we wrap this up? Before I pull a Danik and I press a little button and half the world blows up because my cult is mildly popular.
Any last words? We can do the classic thing. Would you recommend this game? Play it with a friend and drink if you want to drink. If you're into that, have a lot of laughs and just pretend that it's in an alternate universe from the first 2 games, and you'll have a blast.
Yeah. Do not take this seriously at all.
Nope. This belongs in the movie universe and the book universe where everything is silly. It's over there.
Yeah, off in the corner. All right.
That's what I got. What do you got? Any last words? I'm grabbing the gun and turning it on you now.
Oh my God, he'll do it. He's crazy. Follow us on Twitter, maybe. I have a Twitter for this, but it's. Listen, I have not been tweeting as much because that site's fucking awful. But if more people bullied me on there, I'd bully them back. So tweet at me.
Yeah, join for bullying.
I don't remember. Just look up No Player Connected, and hopefully I'll pop up. I don't remember my Twitter handle. Who knows why I don't have any followers? Who fucking knows?
Track him down and tweet at him your ideas for the Dead Space dating sim. Please.
Kaden, plug some stuff.
Hey,
Don't plug me anymore. Plug you.
Come hang out with me on Twitch, twitch.tv/KadenCactus. I am also unhinged there, so if you like that, come on over. We'll have a grand time. The other day, we went down a rabbit hole of talking about Rice Krispies mascots,
dude.
And then at the end we raided Jam Stream and spread the Rice Krispies infection over there, and had a lovely time. So come on over.
Just because of that,
we're crispy vibing.
I'm gonna get my first copyright strike. Kellogg's is gonna come after me. Take this episode down.
They're gonna beat EA to the punch. That's why.
You said their name too. Oh wait, no, we said their name a while ago.
Oh.
Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah. Whoops. Oops, as Isaac would say.
All right, can you say the line?
NP, see you later.